All right, sis. So you are thinking of moving abroad, or you've already decided, but you are a single older woman and you're going to be moving to a foreign country where you don't know the language and you're going to be living alone abroad as a single older woman. Safety is something that is in the back of your mind, and so it should be. But today I want to talk to you about the realities of feeling safe or unsafe abroad, my journey, and what you can do to put yourself in the best position so that you can enjoy this new adventure, this new, what we call in Spanish, temporada, this new season of your life. Hi there. If this is your first time seeing me, I am Maggie Lazar. I am a retired nurse, nurse practitioner, and I've been here in Panama 3 years next month. I cannot believe it. I absolutely love being here. I'm also the creator of SWRA, Single Women Retiring Abroad, a group of sassy older ladies who have made a conscious decision to retire here in this beautiful country, create sisterhood, create community while we reinvent ourselves. But I always say the ultimate goal of SWRA is to create a newer model of aging abroad that is sustainable and affordable. If any of this sounds of any interest to you, I invite you to like the video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel. Also, click that little bell so that you get notified when I post a video or when I go live. All right, sis. Safety. It is something that should be on everybody's mind, but especially as a single older woman, you decided to pack your life, leave everything that you've known to move to a foreign land. And of course, you know, you're going to be more of a target, and we're going to talk about what that looks like. But all is not gloom and doom, yes? Because you can be smart and keep yourself safe abroad. Now, I'm in Panama, and I can only tell you my experience here in Panama. But I believe that the principles, the safety tips we're going to talk about are universal for a single woman. And you know, people who slow travel, you know, sometimes I read some stories, right? But you have to have that safety mindset. Because even before I moved to Panama, I travel internationally. There are certain rules I follow as a single woman, like going to a bar and get picked up by some random guy. I don't do bars, so I'm safe. But the way I want to frame this conversation today, we're going to talk about a few ideas, items, situations that could put you at risk as a single older woman living abroad. And we're gonna talk about, is it a myth or is it really a reality? And then I'm gonna tell you my experience, my take, how I keep myself safe based on those parameters. Does that sound good? All right. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna keep telling you because that's important to me and the algorithm. Help your sister out. Thank you. You know, I give you a lot of good content. This is not the video where I'm going to tell you about my history, my story, how I got pickpocketed or robbed. I got a lot of flack from people. You weren't robbed or pickpocketed. I'm like, whatever you want to call it. Somebody took something that belonged to me. So that's robbery. I can call it whatever I want. All right, so I may look down because I did write some notes because I don't want to be all over the place. And I know you're going to say, get with the program, Maggie, get on with it. Okay, let's go with it. Traveling alone, number one, something that could put you at risk as a single older woman, right? I know you told your family, you told your friends, your acquaintances, but you arrive at the airport with all your suitcases. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, here's one. She's moving. She must have money. You get on the plane, you get over here, and you land in Tocumen Airport here in Panama City. It's a big airport. You know, I think the thing we need to keep in mind is that there are people whose job it is, they make it their job to scan the landscape and zero in on a possible victim, someone that they deem to be high risk. And when we land with all our suitcases, with that dull look in our eyes, we look lost. We don't know. You don't think somebody already watching you, and they're working packs. So he could be just strolling through the airport, but he's got little codes he can send to his buddy outside, when they say taxi, taxi, right? And then they see you with suitcases and they say $90. Well, you don't know. You're like, well, I'm in a strange country and I have all these bags. Yeah. But you may be scammed because it doesn't cost that much to take you from the airport to your hotel, but you didn't know, you didn't ask. All right. So just by virtue of being single, you traveling across oceans and on the plane, they're checking you out too. So be careful who you befriend. Don't say, oh, he was so nice. He sat next to me. We just chatted. We exchanged numbers. I told him where I was going to be. Why are you so free with your information? In this day and age, you cannot afford to do that. Now, this is a reality. This is not a myth that as a single person, everybody who approaches you, you have to go scan. You do not need to share your information. You do not need to share phone number with a total stranger. Don't do it. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, you may be a target just by virtue of being a woman and an elder. They look at the gray hairs. I was telling someone that something that happened in the neighborhood, and I said, well, they didn't probably see the gray hairs. And someone said, it doesn't matter. Somebody who wants to scam you doesn't care if you're 80 or if you're 30. But because of ageism and because they perceive you to be vulnerable, slower, your risk increases. You move into different cultures. You read those stories about women who have gone to Dubai or other places, and then they don't understand the culture that if you're visiting somebody's country, you need to adjust yourself to their reality, not the other way around. For example, parading yourself in really Daisy Dukes short shorts, in a place where you're supposed to have your head covered and stuff like that. And some people have gotten in trouble. You read about those stories, right? It is not a sign of weakness to say, I understand in this culture, I may be perceived as being vulnerable by virtue of being a woman. We know misogyny. We know that. But at this point, it doesn't matter. You traveling into their country, you coming to live here. So you need to understand that in a lot of those cultures, women take a back seat to men. And they see you more likely, oh boy, sorry. And they're more, you're more likely to be seen as vulnerable, as not smart enough to understand the nuances, the realities of what it takes for the hustle, right? So move around with caution, okay? When somebody quotes you a price, if you can find out what is the going rate, if you ask me, you ask other people, they'll say, oh, when you get to Tocumen, $25, $30 max. Now, if you have 8 suitcases, yeah, you may have to pay a little bit more. But don't let them scam you, making you feel like, oh, you're not going to find another taxi because they. In fact, I tell people just Uber, right? You feel a little safer with the app because somebody is watching, is monitoring the activities. And then we'll talk about once you are, well, we can talk about it now. When you're here in Panama, just what I said, women are considered, maybe, let's say weaker sex, right? And it's not just here. I remember in the US, there was an insurance company that kept sending me statements or correspondence, right? I was divorced, but things were still being addressed to my husband. And it was my account. I'm like, what's up with that? So, it's everywhere pervasive. Now, you can fight it or you can adjust. So put yourself in the best position you can, arm yourself with knowledge, and you're like, nope, I know it's this way, it's this much, I'm not paying that. All right? And people approaching you, wanting to help you, unsolicited, be careful. Ding, ding, ding. I call it a ding, ding, ding. It's like the warning bells are supposed to go off in your head. All right? So move with caution in cultures where you might be perceived as being weaker and not smart enough and not understanding. Be wise. And those are all safety concerns, right? Number 3, you are here in Panama as a foreigner. The number 3 issue I have highlighted is health emergencies in unfamiliar environments. That's a big one. Because, as women, single women, older women who have decided to live abroad, to move away from your environment that you knew how things move around, whether it's good or bad, but at least you knew how it worked. You knew the healthcare system. You knew about how emergencies are handled. You call 911 and an ambulance comes, takes you. It's not the same. So that's why when you come to a new country, you need to investigate that. And I do lots of videos telling you how it works here, about the private and the public system, and that if you call 911, you're automatically going to be taken to a public hospital, and you have to call your doctor first. It's different. Knowledge is power. So if you have an emergency, let's say you collapse in the street, first of all, the reality is they're very helpful. They will call 911. They'll take you to the public hospital because you couldn't tell them any different. If you can, say, wait a minute, let me call my doctor. Your doctor will tell you where to go. And those hospitals have their own ambulance services and you can get in. We're not talking today about whether you have insurance or not. That's another thing that could put you at a disadvantage. That's why we tell you to have your credit card ready, because another reality is that there is no law that said a hospital is supposed to provide treatment to you if you cannot afford to pay. I've told you that several times. But in addition to that, you don't understand the language. Now, if you're having pain, you're having an acute episode, do you think you're going to be in a frame of mind to say, well, let me talk to them with my Google Translate? That may not be available to you, depending on what's going on with you in the moment. So those could put you at risk as a single older woman who does not speak the language, who is not familiar with the system. So it's not a myth, it's a reality. So how do you address that? You learn and you get your support system in place. A lot of us have these little tags that we attach, like a tag like this, not like that, but in a plastic, and it's laminated, and it's got your name, your address, your physician, the physician's contact number, and your allergies. You don't think that's important for a hospital to know? You're a Jane Doe. They don't know you. So the more information you provide them, the better off you're going to be, the better the outcome, right? So that is the number 3, health emergencies in unfamiliar environment. And people who have been, I'm going to interview a sister today about her hospital experience. The doctor may know a few words of English, but the rest of the staff probably don't. How do you communicate? Do you have an advocate? Do you have someone you can call to come and translate for you? You got to get those things in motion, get them in places. It's important. All right, we've gone through 3 points. Are you enjoying this? I hope it makes sense to you to understand your vulnerability as a single older woman living abroad, living in a strange country. You're going to have to work a little harder. So please like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Okay, I'll wait. I'll wait while you subscribe. That's what Stephanie Queries says. Well, Stephanie is a powerhouse. I told you how I followed her challenge last year to get started, and it worked for me. It can work for you too. All right. Number 4, financial scams that could target you as a single older woman. Well, you could be scammed at the airport. You might be scammed during trying to get an apartment. A sister was sharing with me that she believed this guy, an expat, who had an apartment, because people are buying apartments here and then they're renting them to us. But all wasn't on the up and up. So that sister got scammed out of her money. We have people here who would rent you an apartment that is not kosher, mold, dirty, whatever, broken down furniture. And when you say, well, no, I need you to fix it. Well, no, this is what you get. If you decide to leave, you don't get any money back. That kind of scam is going around here a lot. Things happen in the apartment because it wasn't in your lease. They're like, nope, it's your responsibility to fix it. Listen, those are financial scams. Not to mention going to buy something, not in a store where everything is priced, but if you go to like a little stall, a little stand outside, and they look at you, they're like, oh, there's one coming. It's $5 for the local, but for you it's 20. That happens everywhere. Gringo pricing, we call it. And gringo doesn't mean white, it means foreigner. So you can be called a gringa. I don't think it's a slur. I think it's just a way for them to separate the locals from the people they perceive to have money. Because the financial scam comes from the notion that if you can afford to come to their country, you can buy a plane ticket, you can rent an apartment in Panama City, where the majority of the country is not able to afford it, then you have dollars. So give it up. Give it up. All right. So the scamming is real. And of course, in terms of phone, if you don't speak English, Spanish, don't answer phone call that you don't know. And they say, well, you need to buy this, because the government was in the news just cautioning people about, a car. There's scamming going over buying a car. Are you buying a car? I'm not buying a car. People get scammed trying to get a car too. They give you, what do you used to call those? Was a lemon? Isn't that what we used to call a car that's broken down? And then you got to worry about who's going to fix it. As a single woman, older woman, you don't need to have a car. That's my personal advice. Uber is so cheap, you can't get around. All right? Do you want a responsibility of maintaining a car? If you live outside the city, I can see it. But in the city, I don't think it's necessary. But listen, sis, these are just my suggestions. If you feel you need to, go ahead, do you. Just try to keep yourself, as safe as you can. And then, as much as you may resent the fact that you might need someone to come and talk for you on your behalf, that's the way they do it. Get a fixer, get a male friend, go with a male friend. Listen, sis, I am just as upset about this male-female perception, but it is the reality. So let's go with it, right? All right, number 5. language barrier in crisis situation. You know, I was robbed, pickpocketed. I had to go to the police station. I found it. He didn't take my phone, thank God. He just took my wallet with everything in it and started swiping. So when I called the bank, they're like, you need a police report. Without that police report, you're not going to get your money back. You can't go anywhere. So I had to do a police report. The police report, I think I had it here. It's like 4 pages legal long like that. The young lady wanted details, time, and everything. So I sat there with her after going there 2 or 3 times. Hey, listen, this is Panama. Nothing gets done on day one. And then it was like, she wanted details. So I was like, oh my God, I am so blessed that I'm able to communicate with this woman. Because if I had to do after the trauma of realizing all my credit cards, all my IDs were stolen, and it's like I had to do this Google Translate for every little thing, I would be a basket case. So in emergencies, not knowing Spanish could be a handicap. Not knowing Spanish, the language barrier is going to make things more difficult. You know, I told you, in emergencies, in a hospital, trying to describe what's wrong with you, to make your point, to get your point across, because there are cultural contexts, right? When you say, I'm in pain, depending on where you are, we have the scale of 1 to 10. I don't know if they have that here or not. But the severity of your pain can be very subjective. And somebody could say, she's not in that much pain when you're dying, right? So you have that cultural context of everything that is happening around you. Let's say you needed to communicate with somebody doing deliveries for you. I don't know how many times sisters have called me. Oh, I was expecting a delivery. They're not here, blah, blah, blah. Sis, learn the language barrier. In a hospital, the doctor is asking you questions or the staff talking to you and you're saying, see. You don't know what you're saying yes to. It could be something dangerous. Do you have this disease or not? See. Can we swipe your credit card? See. Is your mother alive? You're 75. See. You see how C can get you in trouble? Yes, sis. Learn the language. I mean, I don't know how else to impress upon you the importance of learning the language. It's a safety issue. It's not just to make your life easier, it's to keep you safe, sis. All right? One more that I added is the panic to rent. You know, here in Panama, there are so many people coming. Well, I think people like me and other creators, we are at fault too for saying how beautiful Panama is. Oh my God, the visa process is easy, the rent is easy, the food, the people, yes. And I have nothing to say against that because our sisters and brothers are really in a jam over there. Things are hard. And we're not there. We're just reading about it, and your heart is breaking for the situations that that people are going through that keep the situations keep getting worse and worse, more inhuman. So people wanting to leave is a reality. Our sisters, older, can you imagine being in your 80s and deciding to move? You know how much courage it took for someone to do that, our sister? You know how much courage it takes to leave everything that you've known for 80 years and to say, I'm leaving as an older person with physical limitations, with multiple diseases. I don't even know if I would be brave enough to do it, but they're doing it. It's a sign of desperation. It's a sign that you just don't see how things can get any worse and your psyche, your mind can't take it. So people are coming here and I understand But the pressure to come, the pressure to find a place kind of encourages the spike in prices that we see in rentals. The change in the landscape where we used to tell you, oh, everything is negotiable in Panama. Not rental these days. They give you a price that they decide they feel you can pay and you're trying to barter. Now I tell you to haggle, right? You try to say, oh, you asked for 1,800, how about 1,500? They probably won't even respond to you. And the other thing people are responding is that those real estate agents are so busy that when they say, what is your budget? And you say, oh, $900 a month, nobody's going to return your call. Because if they're working on commission, why would they try to deal with you, spend time when they can find somebody who can pay 2,000? You see what? You're starting off at a disadvantage. So sometimes you have to up your budget. And I'm not saying you're not going to be able to find an apartment in that price range. It's just going to take you longer. And also do stuff on your own. One sister been here 2 months. She went up and down and tried, looked, and finally she said, I found one on my own. So you can. I found my apartment on my own as well. So just like, but I understand when I told you that it's better for you to work with a realtor, because if you're an older person and you don't have the savvy, you don't know how to use your computer very well to search, it might be difficult. But now we have people we call fixers who can help you, and it's more affordable. So just ask around, what is my plan B? What is my alternative? So when you are in a rush, when the realtor and the apartment owner see that they have a long line of people waiting to get their apartment, they're going to go with the highest bidder. Come on. This is supply and demand. They don't know you. They don't owe you anything. And when you say, but I'm an old person, no, ma'am, this is business. Okay? I mean, even if you came to me and had an apartment for rent and you want to give me 1,000, I can get 1,200 over here. Come on. It's a given. All right. So this is a reality. The pressure to rent is going to increase your rental prices. So you either up your budget or you look at other areas. Okay. So you may not get the squinky, all the little amenities that we recommend in an apartment or a home. You may decide to go to places like David, where you can find things cheaper. That's reality, sis. Got to adjust. Okay? So now to finish off, I'm going to tell you some, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Come on, come on. And you don't do that to Panamanian. Don't do that. No bueno. But some basic day-to-day practice. Number one thing I can tell you is that information is your power. Talk to people. Watch the Facebook groups. Read the comments. Go to events if you can. Talk to people for information. Ask for referral. How do you like where you live? Where do you shop? Who's your doctor? How do you like him? Which pharmacy do you use and why? Okay? Ask me about delivery. I just sent something in the chat yesterday. I found a place that can deliver fruits and vegetables. And then you can order all your other household supplies to be delivered from PriceSmart or Do It Center. Ask. All right? And then the other thing, number two, is learn the culture. Know where you are living and how people move about and why. Their history. You need to learn that. Why do they dress the way they dress? Why do they eat the food they eat? Why do they do certain things that seem to annoy you? That matter. It's their home, their culture. You are the one to adjust, not them. Don't get me started. That's a little pet peeve of mine. Number three, learn the language. You need to learn Spanish before you get here. At least try. Learn how to ask questions. Learn how to greet people. Basics. I know it takes effort because your brain is asleep, but you don't have a choice. And I've had people start my classes and drop because they find it was too frustrating. Okay, sis, I wish you the best. I hope you can get it. And I tell people, don't compare yourself to me. I have been around Spanish since I was in middle school. Spanish was a required language for me when I was in school. It wasn't an elective. All right. So, and then I fell in love with the language and I kept up with it through the years. So now it's serving me well. And I thank God. And I'm not fluent. I am still finding words. And you're like, what is that? What does that mean? And of course, you have the regional differences. Panama says a few things that are different from other places, like they do in Colombia or they do in Mexico. Every single country has its own little slang. Que sopa in Panama? What's up? ¿Qué tal? Okay, you got to learn. And the way you learn, not only by reading and studying, is by listening. How do they say that again? Buen provecho. I didn't know what that was. I had to ask, what is that? Oh, enjoy your meal. I'm used to bon appetit, right? Learn the nuances, important. Why do they dress the way they dress? Why do they do that? Why do they answer that the way they answer? Number four, get out of the bubble. Yes, you need to get information from the expat bubble, but venture out. Make some friends with the locals. Talk to them. When they invite you somewhere, go. I mean, I love to go to festivals. I love to go to the local dances. I absolutely love going in the interior and watching, going to a fauna and watch them interact, the family interactions and the joie de vivre, I call it. They're always up for a party and dancing. I love that. Get out of the bubble. Rent in safe areas. Well, this is my advice. It's up to you to take it. But if you want cheap, I am not criticizing you, sis. If someone told you you could come here and live on $1,000 a month, go listen to them. I will not tell you that. As a single older woman, if your funds are limited, you need to consider a place outside the city. All right? That's my advice. Whether you take it or not, and I had someone respond in the comment one time, well, that's why I did not stay in Panama City, blah, blah, blah. And that's great. Like I told you, David is and communities around David are, is it the Lega and they have other ones? Yeah. But there is isolation, right? I choose to stay here because I like the amenities, I like the safety. If I couldn't afford it, I would be okay leaving. Yes. There is no shame in living within your means. You don't want to be staying awake, wondering about how am I going to pay this, how am I going to pay that. You're retired. You should have left that behind. This is not a place for you as a single, older woman, retired, to be worrying about pennies like that. No, this is not living. The next one is move about smartly. And I was thinking this morning, just now, just before I got started with the video, about sometimes even the way you dress. What I want to say, don't attract attention, first of all, right? You don't want to stick out wherever you go to say, oh, here's an American. Oh, here's an American. First of all, people walk into public places and then they start speaking loud, their English. So now, remember, the stalkers are like, ooh, okay, let me check them out. Follow you around, get on the metro with you, waiting for you to just have a weak moment so they can grab your phone, whip your purse, your wallet. And you should see the way people, they're showing sometimes the cameras, in a store. Somebody's trying to reach someone and then someone's like, whoop, got the phone, whoop, got the wallet. I mean, they are so slick. So knowing the culture, I talked about that, the way people move around, the way they dress. You watch how Panamanians dress. The dress is conservative here. So when I'm walking down the street and I see some young women with the short, I know older now. Teenagers, that's different. But I'm talking older women walking around with the butt cheek hanging. I can say, yep, they're not Panamanian. Because you don't see that here. People like me, my age, with the gray hairs, you don't see us out there. You're not gonna see them out in the street with something like this. We do where we come from, but it's not cultural. People wear conservative clothing. They don't wear flashy jewelry. No, very conservative. Little earring, little necklace, and they're good. So don't attract attention so they can see you and say, oh, she's a foreigner, and they start speaking English to you because they can pick you out of the crowd. Okay? And the other thing too is, of course, we tell you not to wear flashy jewelry, keeping your phone close to you. The sister just reported last week that her friend got her phone taken. She had a backpack. You know, after my, I'm gonna put a screenshot of my video of how I got robbed. I was wearing a backpack and had my wallet in there. He was watching me from before. It's like, oh, I see one. And then, like she said last week, her friend, this lady kept bumping into her. And every bump she was unzipping, every bump she was unzipping until she got her phone. I got the bump. He bumped me and then he said, excuse me, and walked in front of me with the hoodie. You know, the camera, I can see him because they have cameras all over the place. They have camera, but they can't catch him. They didn't catch my guy. I don't think they catch this lady's girl. Listen, these people are professionals, okay? And a lot of them are part of groups and they work in packs and it's like coordinated. So wear a backpack if you have to, wear it in front. Make sure your money, your phone, close to you, to your chest. You could do the grandma pocket. You could do that too. All right? So be smart, head on a swivel. You do not get into a public space and just be like I was talking. Of course, we were talking with my friend Sonia. They were like, oh, you are two of them. I see them. And we were just enjoying ourselves, just not paying attention. Even after he bumped me, you would think a smart traveler would say, oh, let me check myself. No, I just kept chit-chatting in English. And then the guy was like, got another one. And he started swiping. $6,000 later. So learn from my mistake and don't do that. If you need, I wear a backpack now, but I have food and stuff in it. So if you want, and I don't have anything in the front pocket. So if you want to get a bag of, I don't know, maybe apples, you're welcome to it if you're hungry. Yes. All right. Crossbody. If you're going to be out in public, and then when you're on the metro or the buses, especially during rush hours, I mean, we are tight. And I don't hear that people are being groped, women, like I hear in New York, in places like Mexico City. But still, during rush hour, I mean, it can get tight. I worry more about catching, a respiratory thing. So, if it's tight, I put my mask on and my crossbody, girl, I am guarding them with my life, head on the swivel. There was one episode of a guy who got really close to me. He grabbed on the thing up and he was like, and I'm like, excuse me, you're in my space. Move back, right? So if you're just oblivious or you don't say anything, of course they're gonna continue. So move about smartly. The other thing is, don't be out there in the streets late at night. You're an older woman. Common sense. Even when I'm traveling, I am not in the streets at night. And if I go to an event and it finishes late, I Uber. All right? I Uber. I'm not in the streets. Where I live on a very safe big road. But when I go 2 blocks this way to go to to get the metro or whatever, it's like, eh. So I know certain times of the day, early morning, where I call them hourly people, are still hanging around the corners. We have a homeless situation not too far from this Frankie Street. And with the homelessness comes mental health. Mental health is unpredictable. I don't know. One day I was walking by and two of them were in a fight. And it's like, you know how people get killed because you're in the wrong place at the wrong time? You have no business being there. So early morning, I don't need to be out there. You know, these women getting killed like in the States, jogging like 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't need to do that. When the sun is rising, yes. And if you're walking in the evening, you don't need to be out there in the dead of night. No. Common sense, sis. Come on. I don't take taxis here. I know some sisters do because they drive cray-cray. And there have been instances where people got robbed by taxi drivers because they're not really well regulated here in Panama. So I Uber. I love the metro, the buses, depending on the time of day and where I'm going, because sometimes the metro doesn't go someplace. And then I Uber for the rest of it. So my budget is not, and we talk about budget in another video, it's not that much because I use the metro a lot, but with common sense, okay? Avoid being scammed. Know prices of things. Know how to say, no, how about this much? Know your numbers, your money, and how to offer other prices. When you are going to rent an apartment, make sure it's on the up and up, that you're dealing with the owner or the management company, and have your lease reviewed by your attorney. Know what your responsibilities are. People are self-blenting and, oh, well, you know, I started here that I can let you gotta be careful, sis. And another thing I want to tell you that is sad, but it's not the locals only scamming foreigners. There are instances of expat scamming other expats, and that's the saddest thing. How do you scam a brother, a sister, someone who's older? You know who's on fixed income. But remember, scammers don't care. They don't have a heart. They don't care about you. They don't care if they take your rent money. And then the other thing too is make sure what your financial situation is, because we also hear stories about people coming here and then asking to borrow money to pay rent. Sis, stay within your budget. Have an emergency fund in case you end up going to the doctors, because you know we pay out of pocket for a lot of our healthcare, basic, because you know when you, as a single older woman, you need coverage for emergencies. You know, when you drop in the street with a heart attack or a stroke, those are the major things you worry about. And this is not a video about finding health insurance because I've talked about it a lot and it is a challenge. So before you get here, you need to know, how am I going to get coverage? Because the older you are, the harder it is and almost impossible sometimes. And that tends to cause people to return back to what they were running away from, because circumstances will force you to go back. And it's a sad situation, I think. All right? Let's see. Choose your circle carefully. Remember that scam on expat scamming you. People who are always asking you for money, always saying, oh, you know, I'm short 50, 100. Am I a bank? Choose your circle. People like that who want to suck you dry, you want to run away from. You didn't come here to take care of somebody else, right? All right. So choose your circle. Be aware. My safety practice on a daily basis. I'm in my apartment. I'm in those streets a lot, but I'm going to the metro, catching the bus, going wherever I need to do. And I walk these streets every single day. And I don't feel unsafe. All right? Because I dress conservatively, I wear comfortable shoes, I keep myself from being at risk of falling into those ditches and breaking my ankles and elbows and falling. No bueno. I know enough Spanish that if I'm in an emergency, I can fend for myself, learn Spanish. I stay out of the sun, the middle of the day. We single older women should be in a cool place at the mall, sipping a latte, or in your home, away from the harsh sun. Protect that skin of yours. Yes, even the brown skin. And the sun rays will aid you. So put that sunscreen on your face, wear your hat, wear your parasol, your umbrella. All right. Enough with the down thumb. I don't know what that is. And lock your doors. I never open my door to people I don't know. Because somebody coming here, they need to go downstairs. And then they're going to call me and say, are you expecting someone? So somebody knock on my door, I don't even say, who is it? ¿Quién es? See? No. If I don't know you coming, I don't answer. And I have double bolts on my door. I always do the double. And then I'm going to get an extra key and give it to my sister downstairs so that if I'm in emergency, she can get into my apartment. That's part of our SWRA cluster. We need to do that. Don't be out at night. We talked about that. Avoid locals who are too friendly. Sometimes, I mean, Panamanians are nice people, but there's some bad people too. And as I said, they see you dollar signs going across your face. So be careful. All right? And don't be a sugar babe. This is the last one. Some people are wanting to be taken care of. Are you going to be a sugar babe? Oh my goodness. Listen, sis, if you have it to share, it's up to you. Okay? But I'm looking at the time and I have gone way beyond what I meant to do. But this is an important topic, sis. As a single older woman living abroad, you have to have your wits about you. You got to surround yourself with people you can trust. You need to develop friendship with your SWRA sisters that you can trust they have your best interests at heart. Learn the language. Surround yourself with good support for emergencies or if you get sick. That's where the sisterhood comes in. Be smart. Know the prices of things. Don't get scammed. Make your attorney your friend. Ask questions. Be aware. I cannot say it any more emphatically. So I'm going to stop right here. I hope you enjoyed this video, these practical bits of information that are going to keep you safe. And watch my video about how I got scammed and not get scammed. The one where I got pickpocketed and the one where I had to pay $1,000 fine. Learn from my mistake. Use me. All right? So don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. So be practical. Go be a safe expat. Don't become a victim. All right? Au revoir. À la prochaine. Bye. Ooh, that was